Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in on a cloudy Thursday. Rain in the forecast. Going to get a little cooler, a little bit more fall-like. Speaking of falling, Grizz-Woes continue. A little better defense last night. No offense. That's a problem. I think they're 29th now out of 30th in the NBA when it comes to scoring. And so we'll talk with Pete Pranica about the Woes. Some are saying, Bismack Biyombo has actually looked, I think, pretty good. Can you make moves to keep him after Ja comes? What do you do? Do you realize now at 1-7, they are already 6.5 games behind the leader in the West? That's the Nuggets at 8-1. 6.5 games. And we're talking 8 games in. Also, Grizz now are 0-4 at home. Zach Boyd, you go to all these games as usually the visiting radio engineer. Do you know how many games the Grizz lost at home last year?
I think it was 1.
Oh, no. They lost 6. They were 35-6 at home last year.
That's how used to winning that I'm used to. I can say 1 home loss.
No, they had 6. 6 home losses, but think about it. They've already lost 4. Whew, man. Tough start. Pete talks about that in just a little bit. No media allowed to watch the Tiger football practice yesterday. On the depth chart, as the commercial appeals Jonah Dillon points out, first time I've seen this, it says starting quarterback, Seth Hannigan or Tevin Carter. Or, that's the key. It's always been number 1, Seth Hennigan, number 2, Tevin Carter. The or goes along with what the theme is going to be this week, game time decision. I think they're saying day-to-day. But I know when you're not allowing the press to watch and you're not doing the or thing, you're not going to let anybody know until the game starts. I promise you he'll come out in warm-ups. I promise you we won't know for sure until he takes the first snap. Same thing. I don't know. I did not check. I should look to see what the depth chart was on Blake Watson. But that's another guy that was listed day-to-day. So is left guard Jonah Gamble. So we got a lot of waiting to see on all of that. Russell Copeland will join us. We'll get his take on that. And after that, it'll be Jarvis Greer. And Jarvo will weigh in on all of this, plus the Grizzlies. Speaking of Russell, the Bears are actually 3-point favorites tonight at home against Thursday Night Football. The Bears are going to start Bajan again. So here's the Division II kid that I think has played okay. It's the Bears' defense that has been awful. And, Carolina's defense is actually better. I mean, it's ranked 8th in the NFL, but Bryce Young has struggled a little bit. And so we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But the Bears are hoping for a win tonight at home against Carolina, 2 of the worst teams. We'll, again, have to wait and see what Thursday Night Football is all about. And then yesterday, for the first time, Penny Hardaway talked to the press about the Jackson State game. Because remember, he could not be in the building. And Penny said yesterday that he actually watched the ball game from a bar. Just so you know, Penny does not drink alcohol at all. So he went and had, I guess, Brevin Knight for his birthday yesterday had lemonade. That's what he did. Maybe that's what Penny was having, or it could be Coke. Penny is such a health freak, I don't know if he has any soda. But I do know that he finally spoke, that he watched the game on with a bunch of people at a sports bar, was disappointed in the team's rebound. They actually got out-rebounded by a smaller Jackson State team. That was the only category that Jackson State actually won. It was a slight margin, but he attributed that to hustle and hunger. And you're going to need that hustle and hunger against Missouri on Friday. That is for sure. That, by the way, the Tigers will leave today to go to Columbia, Missouri. He also explained, because that was not Rick Stansberry's choice, to shuffle the starting lineup for the Tigers in Jackson State. Usually they had gone Quinterly, Mills, Jones, and Walton, and then Jordan Brown in the middle. So they took Caleb Mills out. They took Jordan Brown out of the game as a starter, even though they played starters minutes. And they brought in Malcolm, and they brought in Nicholas Jourdain. Nicholas, by the way, is how he wants to be called, not Nick Jourdain, which he's been forever, but Nicholas Jourdain. And it worked, obviously. Tigers win by 17. But the explanation, and, Caleb Mills, I asked him about it after the game. Mills said, well, I would be lying to you if I told you it didn't bother me. Of course it bothered me. I'm a competitor. I want to start. I did not ask Jordan Brown about it. Again, they both had starters minutes. That's more important. In fact, Brown had more minutes than Malcolm. But he explained that with the alpha, and I think that was the term he used, players on the first team, he really wanted Mills and Brown to have more opportunities to score. Because with Jones and Walton in particular, and Quinterly's not shy, there were too many guys on that first team that could score. And he needed others on the second team a little more punch that way. That was the explanation. I got a feeling, knowing Penny, because this has been the way it has been in the 5 years of his tenure, he will mix things up on the starting lineup. He is not one of those guys set in stone on all of that. Will the Grizzlies change starting lineups? What can they really do? Pete Pranica, TV voice extraordinaire. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios with the clear reminder to you, you've still got probably another 20 days, and that's when the overstock sale will come to an end. And you want to take advantage because there are select patio sets. They want to move things out, right? And they want to move new stuff in. 50% off. Now, you don't always get 50% off. Play gyms under $2,000. What kid wouldn't want to play gym in his backyard? Make sure you let them install it. Extended sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you're closing up the pool, 30% off on everything you need for that. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Whidden Road, go a little bit north, look to your right, and you'll see the Palace. It's Family Leisure, where the overstock sale continues. And our title sponsor, well, that's Genesis of Olive Branch. That is where you get the best new technology that is out there. Every new Genesis luxury car, it's luxury with all the newest whistles and toys, anything you could possibly want that is new technology, they got in those cars. And they got special pricing. Go see Vinny Gerard. He runs that department. They have special pricing and financing on the GV70 and the GV80. Those are the new Genesis luxury SUVs. You want options, you want deals, you want new toys with bells and whistles, go see Vinny at Genesis of Olive Branch. That is Craft Road, first exit in Mississippi off Highway 78. That's Lamar in Memphis. That is the place to go, Genesis of Olive Branch. Pete Pranica joins us now. Another rough night at the office, not for you guys. You and Pete were, Brevin were spot on, but another night that better defense, very poor offense. I don't know what you do. The personnel just doesn't seem to be there. Pete, give me your take on last night, and now 1-7, 0-4 at home. Good morning.
Good morning. Wow, what an introduction. But, yeah, it was a rough night. I mean, defensively, the Grizzlies are doing, I think, pretty well. Forcing turnovers has been their best mode of offense. But the problem is, so often they're taking the ball out of the basket. The other team is shooting a ton of free throws. Grizzlies fouling way too much. That's been an issue. I saw one report that the Grizzlies actually had, and I don't know how you measure shot quality. I haven't taken that deep a dive, but the Grizzlies, according to this particular statistical service, said the Grizzlies actually had better quality shots than Miami. They just didn't put them in. And I mean, if you can't shoot 40%, you're not going to win many games in this league. And the issue, I think, is they're getting the looks that they like, the looks that they want, but they're not converting them nearly at the rate that they need to. And that's a major issue. I think one thing, it's interesting, Dave, because after the win in Portland, Desmond Bain said something to Rob Fisher about, well, the game before that he felt sped up. And when you look at the truly elite players in our league, and I'm thinking of a guy like Nikola Jokic, he plays at his own pace. You cannot speed him up. He does what he wants to do. And I'm wondering if the Grizzlies are just trying to play so fast that they go from fast to frantic, and that may be hurting them a little bit. And the urgency is almost too much, and it resulting in a lot of missed shots. Marcus Smart didn't shoot well. Desmond Bain didn't shoot well last night. And Marcus had been shooting really well inside FedEx Forum. So it's tough. But again, you look at it, and the way I look at it, Wolo, is the way the Grizzlies are having to play games with so many bodies missing, and missing different guys on different days. It would be as if you and I went out to TPC Southwind, we walked up to the first tee, and the starter said, "Give me your 6, 7, and 8 irons, and oh, by the way, give me your driver. Now go and play."
Yeah, they're definitely shorthanded. You're right. Shooting 39%, not in an NBA game, you're in trouble. Not only that, but 30% from 3-point range. That's tough as well. The thing that's troubling is Jimmy Butler didn't have a great night. Hero got hurt in 8 minutes in, and the Grizzlies still could not overcome because they've got so many missing pieces. What Miami was doing with them. I will tell you, it was. I've watched at a couple of NCAA tournament games. It's just by chance I've gotten to see the kid from UCLA, Jaquez, and he's a smart, clutch kid. I mean, he took 1 3 last night and he makes it to seal the game. But
right.
The thing that I marveled at the most is Kyle Lowry. I don't really remember how Kyle Lowry came in here. The Grizz had to make a choice, and that was a win-win for everybody because there was no bad choice. You were either keeping Mike Conley or you're keeping Kyle Lowry, and it worked out for both of them. But here's Lowry, 15 years later maybe?
I think almost, it's at least maybe 17.
17, even better. And the guy...
years in the league, yeah.
17, 11, and 9 assists. I mean, he hustle plays, ripping balls away from bigger guys on rebounds. That's incredible, this guy.
It really is, because I watched their prior game against the Lakers, and, Kyle was really... I don't want to say disengaged, but he wasn't the Kyle Lowry that he was last night, and I think he had gone single digits for 5 games, and that hadn't happened since 2009. But he was fully engaged. Look, Miami, they played more clutch games. That's margin within 5 in the final 5 minutes. They played more clutch games than any team in the NBA last year. They went from being a 500 team, having to win in the play-in, and they get all the way to the NBA Finals. These are guys who have been in really rough situations, and they've been in a lot of them. And I think that's part of it. They squander a double-digit lead. The Grizzlies come back. Grizzlies have a lead. And Miami's like, yeah, well, we've seen this movie a million times. And when you've got a guy like Adebayo who, got to his sweet spots frequently, and Lowry was fully engaged. Jaquez's hustle, I thought, was the difference maker. Even Drew Smith coming off the bench, not somebody that anybody really knew much about.
Right.
Here, made a difference. So. Miami's been in that situation before. The Grizzlies haven't been in nearly that many situations, and that's why you get the results you got.
With all the missing pieces and then guys like Aldama just coming back, it was not a good night for Zaire Williams. If Bain is off, you're in trouble. I mean, if you don't have Bain and Jackson play really well at this point, it seems to me there's just no chance to win the game.
That your stars got to be stars, and the complementary guys have to find their place. I mean, Biyombo's done fine the last couple of games, but Zaire Williams the last couple of games, his shot's been way off, and that's troubling. Thankfully, Luke Kennard now starting to make some threes off the bench. But yeah, I mean, if Bain and Jaren don't combine for maybe 50 points,
Yeah.
It's going to be rough until Morant gets back, and that's still more than a few games in the future.
Well, they combined for 60 in one game, and the game was still lost. So it is tough. Now, I thought the Biz Biombo signing, I had questions about it. The guy shows me he's even, 31, something like that? He's got game left. He's got hops left. He's got energy left. There's no doubt. Can the Grizzlies keep him? Is there a way that's simple to keep him after the 25-game mark and when Ja's available to come back?
I believe they would have to create a roster spot. So that means, somebody's getting traded or somebody would have to be waived or there'd have to be some roster machinations in order to make that work. But certainly knowing that Steve-O's not going to be here for the season and Brandon Clark is going to miss most, if not all, of the season, you pretty much got to have him. And now we're having Xavier Tillman with knee issues. So hopefully those aren't serious. But you like to keep Biombo. Solid pro, solid veteran, good screen setter, double-digit rebounds in both of his first two games where he's really played for the Grizzlies. So, yeah, I think you'd like to keep him, but you're going to have to create a roster spot some way, shape, or form.
And it was so heartwarming how Memphis opened up their arms to Derrick Rose. I mean, everybody is pulling for D. Rose. Remember the college year and what a great beginning to his career. But now, what did he play in 3 games and knee soreness or whatever they are saying is wrong with the lower extremities? What is going on, and do you see him coming back soon? Obviously, he is needed, and this is no disrespect to Gilliard.
Yeah, the word that we got when we were in Portland is that Derrick's knee would be reevaluated tomorrow. I don't know if that would be a pregame evaluation that potentially he could play. Derrick did come out, did warm up, was not wearing a sleeve, was not wearing a brace, was not wearing anything on either of his knees last night, and looked pretty good. But again, they'll do the evaluation, see where the soreness is, and see if he would be. I don't know if he'd be available to play. The injury report will come out this afternoon, and we'll see. But yeah, I mean, certainly you need bench reinforcements, and Derrick Rose can be that.
All right. So last year, 35-6 at home. 0-4 start. What have the Grizz really got to do? Is there any schematic thing Taylor Jenkins can do? Is this all personnel? Is it inevitable that the Grizzlies are going to have to make a trade, maybe using picks, something to try to salvage this year? Already 8 games in, 6.5 behind the Western Division leader, the Denver Nuggets.
I think everything's going to have to be on the table. I think that they're pleased with the quality of shots they're getting. They're not making them. So is this a cold streak that's going to be followed by a hot streak? It's a long season, but to start 1-7 obviously really puts you in a major hole going forward in a very competitive Western Conference where there are no nights off. Everybody has the opportunity to beat you every single night. So. They're going to have to evaluate, and I think maybe when you get to that 25-game mark and Morant is able to come back, you have to see, like, okay, where are we? A lot of coaches will tell you we really don't know who we are until 20 games in. We're 8 games in, and right now this is a team that is shooting more threes, not shooting a higher percentage, scoring fewer points in the paint. They've led the league the last 4 years, but they've kind of gone away from that. Part of that maybe is Steven Adams. Part of it, a huge part of it, is Ja Morant. I mean, Ja Morant was one of the league leaders in paint scoring. So, Taylor Jenkins, like I said, you're dealing with a lineup and availability of players basically like Rubik's Cube on a night-to-night basis, and so you don't have any continuity, and that causes a real problem. If you could get guys healthy and could have this, the same 12 guys, for more than one game in a row, certainly that'd be helpful. So it's a very fluid situation with availability of players. The shot making's not been there, and it's been very, very rough.
And looking ahead, 17 games, right? No, I guess you're not allowed to talk to him. Maybe you don't see him in practice either. But what are you hearing from other players about what kind of shape Ja Morant is in?
Honestly, well, I don't have any intelligence that way. I know that Ja worked very hard in the off season, so I have no reason to believe that when we do hit game 26 that he'll be ready to go. Then again, the only way to get in shape for playing NBA basketball is to play a lot of NBA basketball, and he can practice with the team, but obviously, when you're doing shoot-arounds and things like that, he's not going to be on the first two teams because he's not going to be playing in that particular game. So I know that they're doing everything they can to keep his fitness level up. I know that he's chomping at the bit to be ready when Game 26 rolls around. So, but even with that, there's going to be an acclimation period for him and a ramp-up period in his fitness level once he's able to get back.
All right, last thing. Explain the Bally situation, the Bally app, Diamond Sports, all of this, and what the future of Grizzlies TV basketball is going to be going forward.
Well, what we know at this point is that the league has worked out a deal with Bally and with the 15 NBA teams that air their games on Bally, and we will be on Bally through the end of this year. And there's still more chapters to be written in this story. The app, regrettably, people were complaining about outages, and I know that Bally has given a credit to users. And the last few games, as far as we know, that the app has been up and running properly. So there's still more to this, but we know that Grizzlies games will be on Bally through the end of the season. Okay.
After that, still to be determined?
Like I said, chapters to be written.
Yeah, okay. We thank you, and hang in there. They'll figure something out. That front office seems to have done it in the past, and I got a feeling they'll do it again. Thank you. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, sounds good, Wolo.
That's our man. That's Pete Pranica, TV voice of the Grizzlies. He is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. That is Matt Eflin, and that Matt, man, he's a clever guy. He does protection for you and your family the collaborative way. He gets to know you, sits down and talks with you, and then figures out, when he knows your budget, the exact way he should proceed when protecting you with your car, your home, or life insurance. And the same thing can be said for commercial insurance. If you've got a small to mid-sized business, Matt is going to get to know your company. He'll know your employees. He'll know what your product is. He'll know exactly how to forecast you out, what your budget is, and then he finds the perfect commercial insurance to protect you. All you got to do is talk. It's easy. 901-386-GER. That's 4777. You say, why GER? Because he's a big Tiger supporter. 901-386-4777. Protect everything in your family, your assets, your business with the right guy who gets to know you. Protect them with the Eflin Insurance Team. Back in a minute. The National Football League is front and center with Russell Copeland.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Genesis Diamond's first ever 3-day store-wide sale is this weekend. 3 days of mind-blowing savings, up to 35% off. Earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, plus thousands of engagement rings, all on sale. Designer jewelry has been flown in from New York and California for this. Certified diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, and luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. Don't miss the biggest and best store-wide event all year. Save 20, 30, even 35%. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. And only at Genesis Diamond. Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, yeah, time to talk some NFL. There is NFL football on tonight, Thursday night football. Bears and the Panthers. The Chicago Bears are actually 3-point favorites in this game. Those mighty Bears at 2-7. Carolina Panthers even worse at 1-7. Russell Copeland always joins us on the National Football League on Thursdays. We look ahead. We kind of look back a little bit, too. Are these the 2 worst teams in the NFL? I guess you could throw in Arizona and Denver, but I don't know. The Bears are trying to get there to the mark of futility.
Well, it's been a tough season for both franchises. The Panthers, of course, you look at them being rebuilding. Bryce Young has struggled as a rookie, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I think the Bears have been up and down. I think they've looked good in some games, but still your record is who you are. They're 2-7. I still think the Bears overall, offensively and defensively, they have a better chance of winning this game tonight. I think it'll be close because Carolina's defense is really good. They're 8th overall, but the difference in their offense, the offense is bad, and their defense is really good. That's why they're 1-7. But I like the Bears in this game.
I love you for saying that. What do you think about this new start of this kid from Division II Badger?
Well, I think you have to give credit to him. I mean, for him, not to be drafted coming from a Division II, he understands the system. He knows the system. But there's not a lot of film out on this young man, but he's protecting the football, and I think that's the most important job to do as a quarterback is just protect the football, lead your team, and not put your team in harm's way, and I think he's done a really good job of that.
Quarterbacks in this league are so important. Fields is not playing. Bryce Young, he hasn't exactly killed it for the Carolina Panthers. They have struggled, but you know what? It just seems as if that's the story of the NFL this year, really. I mean, now you got the story about Joshua Dobbs, who's now a starter. C.J. Stroud was unbelievable this weekend. He's probably the rookie of the year. Jones out in New York, Cousins out in Minnesota. Quarterbacks going down right and left.
Well, it's a quarterback-driven league, and I think the league has put in rules in place to protect the quarterback, the face of the franchises. But defenses are so fast, they're so big. And offensive line, it's a premium. You have to be able to take care of your quarterback. But it started with Aaron Rodgers, and, I don't think we really look at it, but we have quarterbacks that go down each and every year. That's why the backup quarterback is so vitally important. We've seen Drew Brees. We've even seen when Tom Brady was playing. We've seen Tom Brady. We've seen Matthew Stafford. We've seen Dak Prescott. We saw Lamar Jackson last year. So the list goes on and on. We've seen Herbert go down for a few games, so it happens each and every year.
All right, there were some great games last week. Let's start with Philly and Dallas. And Philly, wow. They the best team in the NFC?
I think they are. But I will say with the Dallas Cowboys, I really like what I saw from the Dallas Cowboys. We've been talking about their defense and, how good their pass rush is, and they needed to try to solidify some things on their defensive line. But I like what I saw from Dak Prescott. I think if you're looking and you saw him able to use his legs, utilize his legs more than he has in the past, he's getting older. But I really like what I saw from both sides. If the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you say, hey, we played them tooth and nail. And I think for the Cowboys, they have a favorable schedule for the next 3 or 4 games. Then it gets tough at the end of November. But I do think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
And I think they've won the division already, right? I mean, look, they've played 9. The Cowboys have played 8. And as we look at it, the Cowboys are trailing, let's see, that's 2.5 games. Isn't it?
Yeah, the Cowboys, the Eagles are 2-1 in the conference. I'm sorry.
They're 8-1 all total, and the Cowboys are 5-3.
And the Cowboys are 5-3. That gives you a 2-game, but you still have a couple of 2.5. You still have a couple of division games left. But I think if you're the Eagles, you are sitting in the driver's seat. That's for sure.
If we just go through these divisions real quick, Detroit and Minnesota now with a new quarterback. You got to figure Detroit, which is a game and a half up, 6-2 to 5-4. Detroit's going to win that division, aren't they?
Well, I picked the Lions, but you have to look at the division. The Lions still have a lot of division games to go. They're 1-0 in division, but look at the Vikings. The Vikings are 2-0 in the division, so it still can come down to a division race. But I like what I saw out of Dobbs. He did a very good job with Arizona. Now, you talk about Kirk Cousins coming down. Now you have a quarterback that's more mobile, who's able to use his legs, able to hit open wide receivers. I think the Vikings have put a push. I picked the Lions to win that division, and actually I only picked one team to go. So if the Vikings come up, they're going to have to make a run in November, December. But I like the Lions to win that division.
The Saints are the only team over 500 in the NFC South. That may be the worst division in the National Football League. And I don't see Atlanta or Tampa's really disappointing, certainly the Panthers. I don't see anybody catching them.
I think you still have to be able to look at the division. You can't just go for 5-4. In the division, the Saints are 1-1. The Falcons are 2-0. So it could come down to a team being 8-9, winning that division, and it could easily be the Falcons or even the Buccaneers coming back, because the Buccaneers are right back behind them with 1-1 in the division. So that's going to go down to the last week, Dave. I think anyone can win that division except for the Panthers. I think the Saints, the Falcons, and the Buccaneers all are right there together, still in place to win that division.
And then in the West, you got San Francisco and Seattle all tied at 5-3. I don't think the Rams or the Cardinals are going to be a factor in all of this. The Niners started off hot. They have cooled off immensely. Mm-hmm. Seattle stays pretty consistent.
Well, the Niners have lost 3 straight, and that's something I think most of us probably wouldn't have thought of, but you have to look at injuries. They've lost their left tackles, and Williams, he's coming back. They lost Deebo Samuels, put a lot of pressure on Brock Purdy, but the defense has not been playing the way we've accustomed to them being playing. They haven't been able to get the turnovers. They've been able not to stop the pass nor the run. I think they get back in the fold, but the Seahawks are right there. I think both of these teams make a playoff run, but the Rams, they're a team that's up and down. They're 2-1 in the division, so you have to look out for the Rams. But I think it's the 49ers and the Seahawks division to win or lose.
Then in the AFC, in the East, it looks like a 2-team race between the Dolphins and the Bills. The Bills I just don't trust the Bills. Miami seems to be, I think, a really good football team. Forget the Jets unless Aaron Rodgers miraculously comes back, and the Patriots are too far back now.
Well, even if the Jets do get Aaron Rodgers back, they can't protect the passer. I don't see him coming back this year, even though he's been hitting at it. The Dolphins are head and shoulders over everyone else because of the division. They're 2-1. The Bills are 1-2. The Jets are 1-1. and the Patriots are 2-2. The Bills are, as right now, they're on the outside looking in to make the playoffs. I thought it would be the Dolphins and the Bills, and I thought the Bills would win that division. But they have to be to fix some things offensively. Turning the football over too much, especially in the red area, they've got to get that fixed if they want to win the division and also make the playoffs.
In the AFC North, Baltimore leads it with a 7-2 record, and John Harbaugh, the brother of Beleaguered Jim, he's the Ravens coach. He's awfully a good coach, too. He says the AFC North is the best division, and I don't blame him. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, all 5-3. This is a heck of a race.
Yes, and you definitely can't disagree with John Harbaugh. 7-2, 5-3, and believe it or not, I picked 3 of these teams to be able to make it, and I thought it would be a toss-up between actually the Bengals and the Browns. But right now, the Ravens are playing outstanding. Lamar Jackson is doing a tremendous job. Offensively, they're ranked 4th in the National Football League. Defensively, they're ranked 3rd. They have the number 1 rushing offense in the league. Play both sides of the ball very well. I still like the Ravens to win the division, but I think it's going to come down to the wire with the next 3 teams. Many think the Bengals because they're looking really good, but how can you bet against Mike Tomlin? He's made the playoffs every single year as a head coach. So.
Yeah. AFC South, Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence really has come into his own, hasn't he? So they lead the division. Houston surprising everybody at 4-4. Then Indy loses Richardson, the quarterback. They're a game under 500 at 4-5. Titans still in it, maybe at 3-5. And Will Levis has become their quarterback with Tannehill's injury.
I think a lot can still happen in this division as we come down the stretch run. I like the Jaguars. But the Texans, for me, they haven't been a surprise. I thought they would be kind of 500. I thought C.J. Stroud would really play well because of their defense. Their defense plays, but he's played better than what I thought. I thought he would be more of a manager in his first year, but he's been managing the football. He's been having comeback wins, but I still think it can still go down to the wire, the last couple of months. But I like the Jaguars, but you can't count the Titans out. Vrabel always does a tremendous job in November, December. So we'll just have to see, but I like the Jaguars.
And then in the West, it's the Chiefs. The Chargers have potential. They are sitting at 4-4. Kansas City is 7-2. The Raiders made all those changes, knocked off their coach, got a big win, but they're a game under 500. And the Broncos, once I thought was the worst team, now they're 3-5. They look like they're improving. What's your take on the AFC West?
Well, Peyton has really done a tremendous job of getting his team off the bottom. They're still at the bottom, but they've been playing well. It's the Chiefs. The Chiefs are head and shoulders above everyone else in that division. And you talked about you didn't trust the Bills. I don't trust the Chargers. Each and every year you see a team that either can't start well or they can't finish well. I think it's the Chiefs, and they'll definitely be having home field advantage. And when you look at how dominant they've been, Patrick Mahomes has never played a road game in the playoffs, and it seems it'll be the same for this year.
That is our man on the NFL. That is Russell Colton. Before I let you go, the Tigers have a big football game in Charlotte on Saturday. They leave tomorrow to go to the, I guess it's a Queen City too. Cincinnati and Charlotte are both Queen Cities. Not sure how they got there, but they are. And the Tigers have 3 starters that are day-to-day. Their quarterback, their running back, their left guard. What do you think's going to happen? Give me your gut feel with this Charlotte team that has some pretty good players, a lot of transfers, a lot of NIL money, and they've won 2 of their last 3, both games on the road at Tulsa and at Greenville, North Carolina.
Well, you definitely can't look at record stuff. 3-6, 2-3 in the division, but this is a football team that's more than capable. You talk about a lot of the transfers. I think when you look at Memphis coming into this football game, it's going to be about protecting the football. When you look at Charlotte, they've turned the football over. They're -5. The Tigers are +6. Offensively, Charlotte has struggled. This is a game that I think the defense can be to communicate, get some things together, make some big plays, but they cannot play down to the competition. I think the Tigers win. I think they have more depth. They have more explosiveness offensively, but it's a trap game. The Tigers have to start off fast, and they have to be able to play well the entire football game. And hopefully this is the game that these Tigers put together 4 quarters.
Yeah, it's interesting. You were talking about how giveaway, takeaway, Charlotte's not very good. Memphis is now a +6. That's because they have recovered 7 more fumbles than they have lost. They have caused 14 fumbles this year and recovered 9 of them. A defense that is shaky, that has had a lot of missed tackles. How do you attribute that? I mean, where does that come in that you cause 14 fumbles and get 9 of them?
I think when you look at this defense, Dave, I think they rally around the football. They haven't made tackles early on. They've been able to make tackles later on in the season. That has definitely gotten better. I think when you look at this defense, it's big plays, giving up the big plays. But if they put a team to have to drive, the Tigers usually make the stops. The Tigers usually come up with turnovers. So defensively, they have to eliminate, or should I say minimize, the big play potential. If they can stop that, this defense is better than really when it looks like it's forced the yards, because they're able to get those takeaways when needed upon.
He's Russell Culpin. He's our guy. Thank you much. Seeing a little bit at the coaches' meetings. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
That is Russell Culpin on the National Football League and more. He's brought to you by Southern Security. That's your home team credit union. And for some, it's been 70 years that Southern Security has been helping them out. They've been serving the Mid-South with the best rates, the lowest fees, the most personable service, and always the newest technology. They got really new technology coming. They've just broken ground on a new building in Collierville. They're always growing, and they're there for you. So if you are a business owner, they can help you. If you're in need of an auto loan, they're the ones to go to. Need better benefits with a credit card? Southern Security handles all your business banking needs. The best competitive rates on auto loans, low rates on a credit card, a whole lot more. All you got to do to become part of the family is make a phone call. Now, you can go to the website, southernsecurity.org, but this is a company that believes in talking. They'll talk to you on the phone at 901-452-7900. Go to the place that's been helping people for 70 years with the best of all the aspects when it comes to banking. That is Southern Security, your home team credit union. Back in a minute. Jarvo ends our Thursday. Jarvis Greer is next on Wolo and Friends.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey fellas, Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and this year it happened on October 17th. I had my first gentleman ask me what he should get his special lady for Christmas, and my answer was this: get her something she will enjoy and get her something she will absolutely love. Think about her likes and her dislikes. You might even ask her what she wants. Then, come let us show you the finest, most beautiful jewelry in Memphis. This will be our 38th Christmas, and for many of our customers, they've been with us for every one of those 38 years. They come looking for beautiful gifts, fine jewelry that makes a lady's eyes sparkle, but they also know that they will receive quality and service that is unsurpassed in Memphis. And at Russell Brothers, you can play St. Nick knowing that if you don't make the right choice, our money-back guarantee will allow her the ability to exchange her gift for one that she really does love, or she gets your money back. For 5 decades, we've helped thousands of Santas. We'd love to help you. Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Oh, I think we're lost again.
Wait, what does that sign over there say?
Caution wildlife crossing?
No, next to it.
If you're 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of serious consequences from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60. Ouch, I didn't know that.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. RSV vaccines, including Pfizer's, are available. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, this is the weather Sunrise was made for. You can enjoy sunrise downtown on Jefferson or sunrise east on Poplar all year long. But there's something special about tucking into a hot, fresh, delicious breakfast when there's just a bit of cool in the air. It's true for lunch, too. There's nothing like a perfect burger when you've got your coat hanging on the back of your chair. You know the food at both Sunrise locations is made just for you when you order it. And now you can enjoy it while you're not being outside in the cold. Warm up with some Sunrise.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We always end Thursdays with our friend Jarvo. Jarvis Greer joins us now. We haven't talked much Tiger hoops today. I did mention Penny spoke to the media and basically said he was a little disappointed in the rebounding effort, but he explained why he shuffled his starting lineup. Memphis has so much talent. And Jarvo, I don't think we've talked about their depth yet. He thought there's too many alphas on that first team when it comes to scoring the ball, so he moved Jordan Brown, the big man who won the Henson Award a year ago, and he moved Caleb Mills, who's capable of double digits every game, to the second team to give them more opportunities to score. I don't know how well that's at. Nicholas Jourdain and Malcolm Dandridge ended up in the starting lineup. Give me your take on that. I got a feeling Penny's going to keep juggling his starting lineups for most of the year.
I kind of agree with you on that. I mean, Jourdain is he's a hustler.
Yeah.
Not only talent, he has that skill or that mindset that he's going after everything. He's going to get on the boards. He's going to get on the floor. He's going to, make that extra play that maybe, it doesn't end up with him getting a bucket, but his teammates will get it. And I think that's more of his mindset. It'll be hard to keep Jourdain off the floor, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think if he had continued in his role, I think he would have been the perfect candidate for sixth man of the year. And then, it still always comes down to who's in at the end of the game, how many minutes are you getting? And if you look at Mills and if you look at Brown, they both played, I think, 21 or 22 minutes, which actually I know was more than Malcolm. I'm not sure where the Jourdain, Caleb Mills numbers were, but I'd say they're similar.
Yeah, I think, with Jordan Brown, I think it's more he's got to get his motor going early. And, you come off the bench, you better be ready to play right now. You've had a chance to see what's going on out there. I think that that guy's uber talented. He has scored on, he may have come from a smaller school, but when they played their games against Power 5 competition, he was always scoring and rebounding and doing it a lot. So I think, it's kind of a deal like he's got to get his motor going early, and he'll have a chance to do that coming up Friday because this is good competition to take off on the road playing out.
Well, obviously nothing is must win, that's for sure, especially when we're talking about November 9th today. But, man, it would help that resume because I think once Connor Vanover's not playing in this game, 7'5" guy.
He was a Tubby recruit. He played here for a minute.
Yeah, he was coming.
He was supposed to.
But when Tubby was let go, Connor didn't want to come, which was interesting. But Connor's been well traveled. Who knows if he would have stayed?
Yeah.
Right? He's on his fourth school right now.
Yeah, and he's intrigued by everybody because he's so. What is he? 7'4",
7'5". He's 7'5" and loves to shoot threes.
Yeah, and plus he's kind of a pipe cleaner. He's real slim.
Yeah,
and he's put a little more weight on as he's gotten older. But it's like, well, if he doesn't play, I don't think they're really going to miss him. You know what I mean? Because they got a lot of firepower in Missouri with their
they got another
point
7.
Guards really
they actually have another 7'2" center. He did not play in their game. They scored 100 points in Arkansas Pine Bluff, and he didn't play in that game.
Well, I think Jordan Brown will definitely have his hands full. I think he'll be able to get up for that one because he's playing resume. He's playing for resume now for the association. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he's going to have to get ready to go and go now. But I think the Tigers have shooting. I thought watching some of that game and listening to you on the radio. And I listened to Greg Gaston on the ESPN Plus deal there, and then listen to you. And I kind of think that the Tigers are just kind of, I don't want to say disinterested, but kind of going through the motions in that game, knowing what they have coming up, and they still scored 94 points. So U of M's got people that can score, and they got people all up and down the roster that can score. It's not just concentrated, like last year. You knew Kendrick Davis was going to get a lot of shots, and you knew DeAndre Williams was going to get a lot of shots. But this team, they'll have to figure out, like you said, who's the alpha, and if they're going to be an alpha, or if they're unselfish enough to make sure that everybody eats.
Here's
they got people that can eat.
Here's going to be a guarantee from me. This is a Wolo lock, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready.
Every game, either Walton or Jones will be outstanding. You're not going to get a stinker from both those guys in any game this year. One of those two will be good in every game.
Oh, I'd say, Dave, that's a pretty good prediction. You're a prognosticator par excellence there because, David Jones has produced every game he's been in a Memphis uniform so far. And Jaquan Walton is just – he's kind of electric, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And if he gets rolling, I don't think anybody can stay in front of him. Plus, he can shoot. So I think that's a pretty good prediction there. And even if they don't have those two guys going, I think David Jones really needs to be a constant. But they got enough other players that hopefully, if either one of those two don't come through, somebody else will.
All right, hard one here. You're not sure about Hennigan. The depth chart says or. Hennigan or Carter as your starting quarterback. No one knows about Blake Watson. He's day-to-day. No one knows about left guard Jonah Gamble. He's day-to-day. I don't think any of us going to know, even with our coaches' meetings coming up, until game time on Saturday. Your gut feel on those three.
Well, if you look at Charlotte, the Fighting Biff Pogies, they are not very good offensively, although they're tremendous in time of possession. They take their time. This won't be anything like the last two teams Memphis has played. But if it were up to me and I could sit them and feel confident they could win, I'd sit them because you know what you got coming up. Later in November at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium with SMU coming to town. But
you got to win this game if you're going to make that a meaningful game. You've got to be 8-2 to play SMU.
Yeah, yep, you're right about that. And as we always say, you can't be looking down at that bathroom light in the middle of the night thinking I'm going to go and, do what I got to do. And next thing you know, stub your toe on the bedpost. Can't do it. You just cannot do it. So if there's any way that, Seth can go, he'll go. We know he's a tough kid.
Yeah.
He has missed only one game in his career, and I think it was at that same shoulder. Remember, he missed the game at UCF
Yes,
a couple
I do.
years ago? And, the Tigers really did not have a backup at that time.
I think they've got a better backup this time around in Tevin
I think
Carter.
so, too. Yeah, because it was the fourth stringer that was coming in because I think that once they named Seth the starter, two of the other quarterbacks left, and they ended up with a fourth string. But with Tevin Carter coming out of Memphis Pure Academy, he is a big kid. He looks like one of those kids you think would be playing at Ohio State. Literally, seriously. 6'4", 230, and his arm is he could throw it through a 10-inch lead wall, from 50 yards. And be accurate with it.
And he's a confident kid because it's my belief. No one's expressed this to me. They said it was a collaborative decision. 2nd down and 7 from your own 15-yard line, and a kid who hadn't thrown a pass since the first game against Bethune-Cookman comes in. I believe the play was an RPO. I believe Tevin Carter could have handed that ball off. He could have run the football on 2nd and 7. And he decided, and I'll bet he said from the get-go, I got Rock Taylor, he's in one-on-one coverage, I'm throwing the football. And he threw the football. Now, that takes some chutzpah. It takes chutzpah, courage to make that call, but it really takes a lot of courage for the trigger man to pull the trigger, and he wanted to. I think that's the truth. I think when he heard he had a chance to throw, that was the whole thing in his head.
Well, it was an RPO. Like, you got several options on that, and all the coaches said, Tim Cramsey, the offensive coordinator, that it was the right read. Coach Silverfield, the head coach, said, hand the ball off. He was thinking that to himself. But when he made the throw, it was the right read. He did the right thing and had confidence in the play. And then he came down later in another drive and made another nice pass for a good completion. I think it was to Kobe Drake. So he's got confidence. He's had some time to sit in the quarterback room with Seth, who he calls him his boy because Seth has taken him under his arm and trying to teach him the offense. Like, as a coach's son, he knows it backwards and forwards. And, getting Seth up to speed, getting Tevin up to speed, he's got to be ready to go because anything can happen, as we have seen. And I'd be pretty confident if he went out there against this team and played a significant down.
Yeah, I hope Blake can go. Blake Watson, the running back, because he's on pace to get over 1,000. And heck, if he had a great, I think he's at 830 or 840, something like that. A great game this week, he could get to that 1,000 mark. And I think the Tigers are going to need him. All right, folks don't know, Jarvis Greer also, he's not totally retired. He works for Grind City and does a Grizz show every week. What's going to happen with your Grizz? We talked to Pete Pranica earlier, but what can they do to right this ship after the 1-7 start? They have not won a game at home, 0-4 after only losing 6 games all of last year at FedEx Forum.
Yeah, they had the best home record in the NBA last year. A lot of people kind of let that go by the wayside because it's the Grizzlies, and they don't really publicize that much nationally. But no, they were the toughest team to beat. For at home in the grindhouse of any team in any arena last season. And I think only the Celtics were next. You know how good the Celtics are. So, but what are they going to do? Look at that calendar, the countdown clock.
Wait 17 games?
It's still counting down on 12 returns. But no, they're looking at, with Derrick Rose out and, that day-to-day on the knee has gone to week. And that's kind of scary. Because he is, they knew that he was not going to play that much when they brought him in, but they needed somebody, with some experience to be kind of that third point guard. Well, he was thrust into the number 2 spot behind Marcus Smart, who's not really a point guard, but is playing that position because he can. That's not really his best position, but, all the injuries and the suspensions have really just discombobulated the whole operation. And, and they'll take credit for the fact that they did not have a good draft 2 years ago in terms of having all those rookies they brought in, and none of them has really stood out yet. David Roddy.
He's the guy. He's the one guy that I believe in.
Yeah, he's had some moments. Z Zaire Williams.
Yeah.
He's been kind of meh. He's been here and there.
Bad night last
against
night.
a physical team like the Heat last night, he was just lost because they just basically bounced him around. And LaRavia has been assigned to the hustle, Jake LaRavia. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll bring G.G. Jackson in, who is also on that two-way, and see what he can do. Now, he looks good. He's big and strong.
He's 18 years old.
Yeah, he hasn't turned 19 yet. He was the youngest player in the draft. So that's this year's draft. They only
He'd
had
be
one
the
pick,
youngest player on the Tigers basketball team.
That's right. He sure would. And he has talent now. So I think he's got kind of Rudy Gay level talent. When Rudy Gay was, he can kind of do the same things that Rudy did.
I don't know that I'd go that far, but we'll
just
see.
Looking at him, his length, his athleticism, and the way he moves, and he's already big at 18, so he hasn't even really filled out as much as he's going to fill out yet. So we'll see.
All right,
that's my thought on it. Just hold on, 17 more to go.
There you go, Jarvis Greer. I'll see you in just a little bit. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Thursday. That is Jarvis Greer. That means that is the end of this show. It's brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows you are making a major commitment. Whether you're building that new dream home, maybe buying land from him for that dream home, maybe you want a renovation, you don't want to leave your lot, you love your home, but you want the modern amenities. You want that California closet. You want the island in the kitchen. What the new media room with the hidden wires and all the surround sound. Oh yeah, Ken can do that. He's the master in making older homes modern palaces. He really is. He's also perfect for knowledge on how to utilize land you might have in your family to now build that dream home. All you got to do is call 751-1632, 751-1632. Go to kengarland.com, see what I'm talking about. Call, because he's interesting to chat with. He sees little details, big picture all at once, and he's going to work closely with you and give you what you should expect. Quality construction, on time, on budget. 2 generations, 70 years. That's what they've been doing at Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. See you tomorrow morning. Johnny Radio comes your way next. Have a great day, everybody.
Here at Memphis Barbecue Supply, we have everything you need for your Thanksgiving feast. If you're smoking, deep frying, or putting that turkey in the oven, We got over 20 different turkey injections and brines to keep your meat juicy and moist, with brine bags and buckets, and 308 different rubs and sauces to choose from. If you're in need of fuel, Memphis Barbecue Supply carries 9 different types of wood chip, chunk, mini logs, and logs of wood, and over 4 tons of wood pellets in stock. And don't worry, we also carry thermometers, injectors, and all other sorts of gadgets that you might need to simplify your cook. And for any questions that you might have, our knowledgeable staff is always eager to help. Memphis Barbecue Supply is located at 7041 Stage Road in Memphis, or you can order online at mbbqsupply.com. Follow us on all the social media platforms for recipes, new products, and barbecue news.
A cold shower is no way to start your day. Purchase a new water heater from the pros at Conway Services, and you may be eligible for up to $2,000 in federal